Hello, my name is Gail Seiler, and I'm here with Heidi Bond and Steph. I am honored to be here on behalf of Betrayal Project USA. We are a victim led organization dedicated to exposing medical and institutional betrayal and medical crimes and honoring those who have been lost and pursuing justice and accountability for crimes committed under the guise of public health. In this particular case, the COVID pandemic. You can learn more about our work, view victim stories, or and get involved by visiting our website at betrayalprojectusa.org. You can also follow us on Rumble, BitChute, X, YouTube, X formerly known as Twitter, Substack, and Spotify by searching Betrayal Project USA or going to our website and clicking on the social media buttons on our website. Today, I have the privilege of speaking with Steph, whose father was killed in an American hospital in California. Thank you for being here and having the courage to, the moral courage to tell your dad's story publicly. Um, can you can you start by kind of telling everybody about James Jackson III?
My dad, Sonny, was way ahead of his time. He was always thinking, had great ideas and plans. He's a Vietnam vet, so I was raised that way. And just a real loving man, but really realistic. And like I said, he was ahead of his time. He's a Native American man from the Hoopa Valley Tribe. And we also lived in Bakersfield, Oildale, California. And that's where he went. We got sick. We all got sick with COVID during the Delta virus. And he went back to Bakersfield to get help.
Okay, all right. Um, so, how old was your dad?
He was going to be 70. So he was 69 and he died on a 70. Yeah, 70. He was 70.
When he was 70. Okay.
And he was a very healthy 70. He
Yeah.
would run he'd run circles around everyone, work so hard, always like valued work and always doing something. He had a lot of energy and was very healthy.
Yeah. He looks like he looks like he was kind of outdoorsy and healthy and it wasn't, afraid of physical stuff. And Vietnam vet, that's amazing. So, obviously um obviously he was very patriotic minded.
Yeah, he was patriotic minded, but he was, not really happy with the current administration and what was going on. Very vocal about, the pandemic. Told
Yeah.
me he even told me it was population control.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. For
Yeah.
sure. I bet he knew being in the military. I bet he absolutely knew. Um,
Yeah.
and he was in the Air Force, right?
Yes, he was in the Air Force.
Air Force. And did he have any disabilities from his service?
Yes, he was 100% disabled veteran, and it was due to mental health issues that he experienced in the war. Overall, like his physical health was okay, but he did have that Vietnam disability to where he was allowed to have his vet services and someone present at the time in the hospital, but we were denied that as well.
Okay, you were denied that. Uh,
Yes.
so so when so give people an idea of the time frame in which um, he got sick. So he knew. So he suspected things were not what they seem during the pandemic, and I agree with him there. It was pretty obvious, I think, to many. But how what was the time frame When did he get sick? When did he go to the hospital?
So what happened was it was in October of 2021. One of his friends that was in pretty poor health was found dead in his home, and they said he died from COVID. So he stayed, and we all got sick after that. So there was a little sense of fear or like, oh, what is this? What's going on? But we got sick and it was uncomfortable. I mean, there was some sickness going around, and he went back to Bakersfield with my mom, and then he felt like he couldn't breathe a little bit. Like he was still talking. He walked there, like everything was fine, but then they admitted him into the hospital in probably um October 10th of 2021.
Okay. And what, so was it his oxygen, you said? So he was,
Yeah, so he was having a little trouble breathing, and then they took a picture of his lungs, and they said that he had pneumonia. He had slight
okay.
pneumonia. So they admitted him into the hospital. But
Okay.
when he walked in, he was talking, he was coherent, he was okay when he went in.
Okay. So he was talking, and then how was he treated? So he went in, let me see. He was in for a total of let's see. He went in on the 11th and he passed. So he was in for 10 days, right? So he died on the 21st of um
He died on the 26th, so about 14 days, yeah.
oh, okay. So the
Or
26th.
20, yeah, so yeah, however many days that is.
Yeah, so about 14 days. And so
16.
yeah. So during that time, um let's talk about how he was treated. Number one, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so he was on the phone, like we would have phone conversation. He had his cell phone with him, and we were talking daily and everything. And then he told my mother, "Oh, hey, I just took some top of the line, new advanced medication that the doctors told me is going to make me feel better, Revesvir and convalescent plasma, which is convalescent plasma is like a blood transfusion.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, that's giving someone who's been vaccinated. So he's basically getting someone who's been vaccinated blood, who's had COVID and beat it into. Okay, I'm back.
Hmm.
So yeah, someone else's blood who's been vaccinated into his body on top of remdesivir. So we have these two things plus all these random medications. So the phone call stopped. Okay, the phone call stopped, and we're like, "Oh, what's going on?" My sister snuck in there and videotaped him. He was naked and he had like barely anything on, and she could tell that he wasn't doing well. And she says, "I'm going to get you out of here." He's like, "Okay, I want to go. Let's go." And then that they said they were going to call the cops on her. They basically ran her out of there. And in the meantime, I was sick too up north that he was so healthy. I didn't think that this was actually going on.
Hmm.
But by the time they wouldn't let my mother see him, they wouldn't let my sister see him. He was 100% disabled vet. By law, he was allowed someone to be in the room. They said no. They wanted a do not resuscitate. They basically told my mom they need to put him on a ventilator. I think it was 80. I think his O2 is 80, and they still required. And my mom said, "No, I don't want to put him on a ventilator. Ask him." But he was so like dying from being poisoned by Revesvir. Um, so basically, what they were doing is they were pumping him with oxygen not giving him water or food, and poisoning him. He ended up dying with liver failure, sepsis, and a heart attack. And
Right.
they did put on the death certificate COVID pneumonia, but that was the last thing they put because they got paid for that.
Yeah.
That they have to put that because they got paid for that. But he was in there 14 to 16 days. They wouldn't let us in there, but as soon as he died, they allowed us in there after he was dead.
After he died. How many
And,
how many
and
how many days was he on the ventilator?
so I believe he was on the ventilator like 3 or 4 days. It
3 or
killed
4
him.
days.
They blew his lungs out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what they did. They poisoned him and blew his lungs out.
And would you say he was treated differently because he was unvaccinated?
He was absolutely treated differently because he was unvaccinated. You know, it felt like they weren't helping him. Well, I didn't really talk to him. My mom was talking with him, and my sister's, who was a nurse at the time, was talking to him, but she was just doing the hospital protocols
Yeah.
too, advocating for that. But what I don't get is how they could have a 50,000 person concert in Texas 10 days later, the Travis Scott double standards, 50,000 people when 10 people died, and he died 10 days before and they couldn't even see anyone. So, I mean, how could these big industries, pharma and government, allow certain things one-sided and then not families to see their loved ones and kill
Yeah.
them with hospital protocols?
Right. I mean, and I agree with you. Like there really wasn't any. First of all, there was no reason to keep people out of seeing their loved ones because there are things that you can do, especially and especially if they're like nobody should have been vented for COVID. That was
No.
the wrong thing. But when somebody is vented, it's a closed system, so there's no reason to keep family out beyond. I mean, there's nothing magical that happens from one day to another that you can't have them. um and he needed somebody to advocate for him. You, I mean, he had to have been scared. What tell me.
Well, when I went into the hospital after he died, they let us in. They made us wear a hazmat suit. Mind you,
Hmm,
COVID's gone by this time. So
yeah.
we're having hazmat suit. He was so skinny, like he lost 25 pounds, and he had a big bruise on his head, like he was
Yeah.
fighting. Yeah.
And he didn't have so so they didn't feed him or give him water, so because he lost so much weight.
I'm back.
Yeah. I saw you freeze a little. It's glitchy. um
Yeah.
so he didn't have food and water, correct?
I don't believe so. I tried to get his medical records um, and request them, but they wouldn't even give me the medical records. I had to call and demand them. I had to sign different waivers. And it was after a year that they gave me, long after a year, that they gave me the medical records. And it was so hard for me to go through. I was watching I heard something, I don't know if it's Robert Kennedy Jr. or something on X about remdesivir and how it was killing people. And I was like, I wonder if he got that. I didn't know. I didn't know. So this was like a year later, a year and a half later. So I got the medical records and I opened them and it was that. We didn't
We didn't
know.
know. Yeah, he got that, and he got baricitinib, which was another one that they got incentivized for.
The
um
convalescent plasma.
no, the baricitinib. They got
Yeah.
they got yeah, they did get incentivized for convalescent plasma too, or certain types of it. It was it maybe in the beginning it was like Regeneron, but then they stopped giving that because there were certain things that were helping people. But baricitinib is a different drug. If they didn't get him with remdesivir, they got him with baricitinib or tocilizumab, Actemra, Lumiant. There's all different drugs that
I
they just
think he had all those. I think I remember
so
seeing all those, and he had fentanyl and morphine and just all kinds of stuff.
yeah, yeah, probably propofol. If they if if he was on a vent, they probably gave him that and Ativan,
Midazolam too.
midazolam. Yeah, the whole ham sandwich. Um, so did during the time because you 14 days. So during that time, what was the communication like between the doctors and the family and the nurses and the family?
So they were talking with my mom a little bit, and then he was taught his other daughter that I do not talk with, since she was a nurse. They were talking a lot
Mm-hmm.
too, and I should have been a little more proactive with that. Now looking back on it, it just seems like oh, one thing I did want to mention is they called my mom when they told her not to do a do not resuscitate. They told her to do one of those, and even the other daughter was saying to do that because she's in the medical field, and my mom said no, I want to resuscitate. So they
Mm-hmm.
called my mom, and she has a recording of this, of them actually resuscitating him and them flatlining, like it's cruelty, like she's
Mm-hmm.
hearing it flatline, and them recessing, and they said, oh, can we stop now, to my
Yeah,
mom.
they do that on purpose because it's like a punishment for not agreeing to give up. And because as soon as you put them on a DNR, then they put them on hospice, and then they give them the drugs and they kill them. And it doesn't surprise me. Like they would have, the hospitals tend to go with, they look within the family and they'll go with the weakest link who will not advocate or who will go along with everything that they say. Right.
And
Like,
that was the other daughter,
yeah,
yes.
yeah. They always do that. They find that weakest link, and it's usually the nurse in the family. I mean, to be honest, like, my sister's the same way. She like, no, you trust the doctor, and then you do what they say, and the person dies. Um. So talk about you were telling me about the thing with the phone, with his phone.
So we didn't hear from him because he was talking, he was coherent, everything was, I mean, he was a little sick, yes, but he could talk, he was coherent. Well, he stopped calling, and my sister broke in there, and I should have went down there and broke in there dressed as a nurse or did something. Um, but she went in there, and they had his phone, which was not by his bed, way over there, and she was videotaping him. We have videotape of him in the hospital too. He
Hmm.
was naked and just had like a little thing over him, and she's like, "We're gonna get you out of here." He's like, "Yes, I want to go. I want to go." And then they kept coming in, and they said, "Oh, you're gonna go to jail. You're gonna get COVID." They were calling my mom. They were basically kicking her out, and she was nervous, but she got his phone, she plugged it in and put it by them, so they basically kept his phone away from him.
Yeah, so he couldn't communicate. You said you have
Yeah,
video
so
of
he
that.
couldn't communicate.
If
Yeah, I
you
still have the video.
if you still have the video, I would love for you to send it to me so we could include it. I
Yeah,
think
we
that's
have
very
the video.
important. Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
send the video, and that's important. Yeah, I would love to see that. Um so so your sister who went in to plug the phone, um it she knew something was wrong too, obviously. She Yeah.
Yeah, we all knew something was wrong. But I live 10 hours away. I should have been down there sooner, but I really didn't realize that he was being poisoned.
Yeah, right.
Like that wasn't I didn't think a hospital would do this. It was only after I heard that other video, other people, lots of other people talking about it. I got the medical records and I was like, "Oh, that's what they were talking about." Then I started doing a bunch of research on remdesivir and convalescent plasma on my own,
Yeah.
like real research. And I found out the facts about it.
Yeah. Yeah. How deadly it is. Um,
And they're still using it today.
right. Exactly. So, so after your dad died, was there any other types of abuses or things that you want to mention about the hospital experience? That we talked about the do not resuscitate. Um, let's see, the food and water. That's crazy. Um,
I think maybe he was possibly restrained. I'll have to go back in. I haven't seen it in the medical records, but I could go back in. I think he was restrained. He had a bruise on his head. He
mhm.
lost 20 pounds. He was not vaccinated, so he was treated differently. And he was withheld communication
Yeah.
and forced to ventilate,
Yeah.
forced to take remdesivir and convalescent plasma, lied to, said it was top of the line,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah. It's the miracle. Like I've heard everything, every excuse about remdesivir you could imagine, from it's a miracle drug to one interview they told the family, "Oh, all the doctors take remdesivir prophylactically." I was like, "Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think they hook themselves up to an IV at night and run that crap in their veins." Um, so,
And the
so
thing is when I went in after he died, and we were allowed to go in after he died, but not before. Um, the medical staff looked very unprofessional and inexperienced.
yeah,
I mean, I couldn't believe that these people were the ones taking care of my father.
yeah,
You know, I don't know. It something seemed very off.
yeah. Do you know if there? And maybe you might not know this because it could have been your mom or your other sister dealing with the medical staff. Was there a consistency in staff, or was it like somebody different all the time?
I have the medical records. I think my mom was so traumatized at the time that we don't necessarily know, but I do have the medical records.
Yeah. Okay.
But it more than likely, I mean, when I say young, it looks like they were early 20s,
Yeah.
like very inexperienced.
Yeah. Very, very green. They would do whatever they were told, kind of. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotcha. So,
Mhm.
so when did you, was it after your dad died that you started thinking, hey, something is not right here?
Yes. Number one, I didn't think my dad was going to die. I mean, I know we were sick. I mean, he was telling me about the population control and COVID, and you know, I would have never known what I know today if it didn't happen to me or
Mhm.
us. I mean, I would not have known. And a lot of people still don't. Like I tried to tell his sister this the other day, and I think maybe she's starting to get it because I've been doing a lot of work.
Yeah.
And I'm reputable, like I'm
Yeah.
responsible and I'm reputable, but a lot of people don't believe this is happening,
Yeah.
and it really is.
Right. And we see
Mhm.
that where a lot of people don't believe it, and therefore it's still happening and people are still dying. And oftentimes they don't realize that, oh boy, it's true, or they don't realize what's happening until it's too late because people go into the hospital. Like they went into the hospital and continue so, but especially during that time, it's like you went into the hospital and you entered this medical matrix that everything was done for the bonuses and for the, for the money over the patient. And like really your only way out was death or escape. You didn't, there were very few that made it out otherwise. And so, so yeah, so you started research. How long was it when you started like you started saying, "Hey, I need to research," and then you heard other stories? So your dad died on, you said, 10 6, the 26th of October 2021. Um, and I know there's a fog of war and everything that happens while you're in, and you were sick, so but you recovered, obviously. What did that look like?
So after that, there was just like a lot going on. Funerals and
Yeah.
my grieving mother and family and just shock. So I think we went to like a depression for like a year.
Hmm.
And then I just felt like something was off. I'm still in shock. And then I just started, doing some research and I came across a group like yours. And then I did an interview a
Hmm.
while. I think this was 4 years ago when it was
Hmm.
real fresh.
Hmm.
Uh, I've had some time to research and process. I really went down and found some really ugly things, some
Yeah.
really ugly truths. And it hurt. It really hurt, but it happened and it happened to me. So now I just graduated from Cal Poly. I got some education under my belt. I've been doing some lobbying, some political advocacy,
Mhm.
and making some connections. There's some new bills coming out. I was doing research policy classes and things, but now I think is a good time because I could see a shift coming with the newer generations that's coming up. They're not the same. I don't think they're really money driven or system power driven,
Mhm.
like where they're trying to actually kill people. I think they're aware, and I
Yeah.
think this group is going to rise above, and there's going to be a shift change.
Yeah. I mean, and I see a parallel health system already being built by a lot of the doctors that were ignored, who had the treatments to save lives. They I know they have banded together to create a parallel system from research all the way to treatment, because the research is also captured. um so that's good. um Tell people how this happening to your dad impacted you and your mom and your family.
Well, a lot of it is I I really had to grow up and become like the responsible party financially. There was a lot of like financial things going on, a lot of emotions, just a lot more awareness of like deeper topics like this that
Hmm.
that I never thought that I'd have to really reflect on what's really going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So does the rest of your family kind of know that he was killed, or is it split, or?
So my mom definitely does, and my sister, yeah, my mom, my husband, my kids, um, my sister, but the other group, that other
Mhm.
daughter who's the nurse, probably not.
Yeah.
She's probably not aware, and she's probably giving Remdesivir right now.
Right now, yeah.
Yeah, and there's some other people that aren't.
Yeah. So it's like most families, it's kind of kind of
Yeah.
split. And how is your mom doing with all of this?
Well, I told my mom that, when the time comes, when it comes back up, because we were silenced for a long time.
Hmm.
There was a big group. This I'm not the only one this has happened to. This has
Yeah.
happened to a lot of people
Yep.
with
1.6
the
million.
hospital protocols and the vaccines. It's happened to a lot of
Yeah.
people, but we were silenced. I couldn't get a lawyer. I looked for a lawyer. We couldn't get a lawyer anywhere. No one would take the case. I was following. We kind of gave up, but then I saw your group come back up. I saw that you were
Mhm.
doing that march.
Yeah.
And
Heidi.
that made me excited. Like, hey, maybe people are ready to start this back up again. I knew it always would be, because it's not right.
Yeah.
You can't just sweep this under the rug. This is murder. This
Sure.
is murder.
Exactly. You can't kill 1.6 million people in US hospitals on US soil and get away with it and think the world is just going to look the other way.
I think that's why there was such a big like red wave with the Trump thing,
Mhm.
because that's how people thought that it would change. It went from Biden era to big, huge red wave to Trump. And I'm hoping like maybe there's going to be support there, but I'm not really seeing much. I did see the RFK, Robert Kennedy Jr., and I know he did write that book, The Real Anthony Fauci. So I know there's some awareness, but I haven't seen what needs to happen. They need to
Yeah.
pull Remdesivir.
They
They
do
need
need
to,
to pull.
yeah.
Yeah. They do need to pull it. And, I probably give RFK Jr. a little more slack than maybe a lot of people, but I, I do think that, the Maha moms that were talking about the childhood vaccine injuries, they had been at it for 40 years or more, right? So, being gaslit and all that. And so I do know it didn't surprise me when he handled that first. But I think he will do something about remdesivir and the hospital protocols. I just don't know what that looks like. Because he even did the movie Vax 3, and that was the bus that went. They did Vax 1 and Vax 2, and the bus was initially just going to be about the COVID vaccine, and they agreed to put to hear some protocol stories, and that changed their whole perception of what was happening. And they put together the greatest. I think it's about one of the best documentaries out there. And we're not just saying that because me and Heidi are in it, but it is they did a great job in showing how the protocol deaths and the all of that led to the shots and the protocols are connected. Scare the people. If you can't get them to take the shot through mandates and incentives, scare them. And so they went from fear to incentives to mandates back to fear, right? And it was just, and it worked because 80% of America took one shot. And there's a lot of vaccine injured people we hear from, and a lot of vaccine deaths. A lot of vaccine
Yeah,
deaths.
yeah, we took the shot after my father died, and
Mhm.
my daughter has heart issues, and my husband's having heart issues. She was on a heart monitor like a couple months ago. Super active, plays sports. We have to take her out of sports occasionally, but we're detoxing. We do have ivermectin on hand. I mean,
Mhm.
everyone's getting better, but there was
Oh,
something
yeah.
going on. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm hoping that treatment in Japan will come here and help a lot of people. Um,
And I'm hoping they pull the shot soon.
yeah, they gotta stop the shot. They gotta recall the shots. Stop the shots. Bring that treatment that's helping people here. The blood. the blood cleaning that helped some people that went there. Hoping that that happens. Um, so, anything else that we've missed about the experience before I ask the next question?
And no, I think we're good.
Okay. So, then Heidi, do you have anything that you want to ask before?
Nope, I'm good.
All right. So kind of in closing, um, this is kind of a two-part question. So, well, the first thing is give us a couple of your, I don't know, your favorite memories of your dad.
My favorite memories is we do river racing here on the river, and he was the president and founder of it. So we'd always go on the river and do hydroplane boat racings, and there's music. It's a family event. We actually just had one last weekend, and we're going to have one for him on Father's Day, called Sunny Days for him. In honor of him, we have it. We had it last year, and we're going to have it again this year. So, waving the black and white checkered flag and all the race videos. Those are definitely some of my good memories, and just driving up the coast. He was always there. We talked every morning at 5 a.m. He would call me to figure out what's on the agenda for the day. What are we doing? Get me motivated. I was like his secretary. I was like a beginner secretary, but now I really got my skills down. He'd be super proud of me because I've been doing a lot of research. I'm a lot more organized. I kept the boat racing going, a lot of fundraising, advocacy. But yeah, he's in the post office right there.
Yeah.
We live in a small little family community,
Yeah.
and he was loved by everyone. But
So, yeah.
he was very vocal and realistic. Like, he'd tell you right now, like, hey, this is what they're doing, this is how it is, and he was right.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was a loving guy, but he didn't take any crap either.
Yeah. And he was clearly alert, right? Alert to what was going on. Yeah. And that the military probably made him that way.
Yeah.
Like that tends to be a trait. Well, we're incredibly sorry for what happened to your dad. And I want to encourage people to share this video. And if they check out the hospital deadly playbook. And if you recognize your story in those tactics that they used, I mean, that was their modus operandi. If you recognize that your loved one probably did not die of COVID and was killed by the protocols. The protocols are not just medications, they're actually the activities along with those medications. Isolation was part of the protocol, the denial of food and water. All of those things are not medication related, but they are still part of the protocol. Those actions combined with the medications created a perfect storm for people to be killed for incentives. And like you said, they got an incentive for the COVID test, they got an incentive for the remdesivir, they got an incentive, and each thing led to another. The COVID test led to the isolation, which led to the remdesivir, which led to the vent, which led to death, which all of it they got paid for. Everybody got rich, when it came to COVID. So, yeah. So that
even if they wrote COVID on as a reason of death, they got paid.
Yeah, they got even the actually not just the hospitals, but like everybody got paid. The insurance companies, the pharmaceutical brokerage houses, the funeral homes, they all got paid.
My dad didn't die from COVID. He died from liver failure, sepsis, and a heart attack.
Which was caused which was caused by the remdesivir.
Yeah.
Well, the remdesivir and the baricitinib and fentanyl and all the things that they gave him just combined, but the remdesivir was the big driver. Yeah, I agree. I always say nobody died from COVID. They died from the protocol. They died from the response, from the protocols. And I will say this, nobody's been able to dispute what's in that hospital deadly playbook because everybody knows it's true. Everybody knows it was true as true could be. So, yeah. So, well, we appreciate you telling your story.
Thank you.
And I'm just gonna do another tell people to go to idonotconsentform.com, get that prepared, because it didn't start with COVID. It's not going to end with COVID. So we need to make sure that you are prepared and not scared, and share these videos. And if you have a story, share your video or share your story with us, because it's not going to change until enough people come forward. So thank you.